You see the F-16 Fighting Falcon, and you just know it's an icon. It's been a symbol of air power and agility for almost half a century. But what really makes it special, what makes it a legend, isn't just its look. It's the engineering. Today, we're going to break down the absolutely radical thinking that made this jet possible. Seriously, just think about that for a second. How does an airplane that was born out of the Vietnam War era, we're talking a 45-year-old design, not only stay in service, but still stand as one of the most capable fighters in the entire world? Well, that's the big question we're going to unpack. To really get why the F-16 is so brilliant, we have to go back in time, back to a period when American air superiority was, well, getting shattered. It all started with a pretty humbling realization. They were losing the dogfight. And the mismatch was just stark. During the Vietnam War, the U.S. was flying the F-4 Phantom. It was big, it was heavy, it was complex. And it was going up against the Soviet-made MiG-21, a small, lightweight, nimble interceptor that was basically dancing circles around the Phantom at low speed. And the results? Oh, they were brutal. In one 6-month period, the U.S. lost 18 aircraft for every 5 enemy fighters they managed to shoot down. That was a massive wake-up call for the Air Force. You know, for a nation that was so used to owning the skies, this was a disaster. Something was fundamentally wrong. Their heavy, powerful fighter bombers were getting ambushed and just plain out turned. It became crystal clear that they needed a completely new way of thinking about how to design a fighter. And that new way of thinking, it came from a pretty revolutionary physics-based idea. A classified paper that would redefine aerial combat. It was all about something called the energy equation. Okay, so this was the brainchild of a guy named Colonel John Boyd. He argued that winning a dogfight wasn't just about who had the most raw speed. No, it was about who could manage their energy. That's your speed and your altitude more efficiently than the other guy. The real key to victory was being able to gain, lose, and then regain that energy faster than your opponent. And you can see what a huge difference this makes in the real world. Just look at the numbers. The F-16's best sustained turn was 14.2 degrees per second, while the old F-4 was stuck at 10. That meant the F-16 could pull a full 360-degree turn in just 25 seconds, a whole 11 seconds faster than the Phantom. Let me tell you, in a dogfight, 11 seconds is an eternity. This was the absolute heart of the new philosophy. The F-16 was built from the ground up to dominate that dogfighting sweet spot, the Mach 0.8 to 1.2 range. It was designed to master energy management, giving its pilot a decisive and often deadly advantage. But here is where it gets really wild. To achieve this incredible performance, the engineers did something that just sounds completely crazy. They made the F-16 unstable on purpose. It's a concept called relaxed static stability. See, most airplanes are designed to be stable. They naturally want to fly straight and level. The F-16 was the exact opposite. They put its center of lift ahead of its center of gravity, which means the plane is constantly trying to pitch its nose up. It is inherently unstable. The best way to think about it is like this. A stable aircraft, like the F-4, is like a ball sitting at the bottom of a valley. It always wants to return to the bottom. It takes energy to move it. The F-16, on the other hand, is like a ball balanced perfectly on top of a hill. The slightest touch sends it moving. This makes it incredibly nimble, but it also means it needs constant correction just to stay in control. So this built-in instability was the secret sauce to its agility, but it created a whole new problem. There is no way a human pilot could make the thousands of tiny adjustments needed every second to keep it from just tumbling out of the sky. The plane needed a co-pilot, a digital one. And that co-pilot was the fly-by-wire system. The F-16 was the very first fighter where all of its control surfaces, the flaps, the rudder, everything, were controlled by a computer. The pilot's stick isn't mechanically hooked up to anything. It's just sending electronic signals to a computer that then translates him into action, taming that wild instability. But the system also acts as a guardian angel. As F-16 test pilot David Kern explains, the pilot can pull the stick all the way back, demanding the absolute maximum turn. The fly-by-wire system delivers exactly 9 Gs of force, the airframe's limit, and not an ounce more. It lets the pilot fly right on the ragged edge without ever having to worry about breaking the plane. And this brings us to another brilliant part of the F-16's design. It wasn't just built around a physics theory. It was built around the actual human pilot, giving them the ultimate edge in a fight. The cockpit was a complete and total reimagining of the pilot's workspace. It had the first ever bubble canopy, which gave an unparalleled 360-degree view, absolutely critical when you're looking for bogeys. The control stick was moved from between the knees to a comfortable side stick on an armrest, and the seat was reclined at a radical new angle. 30 degrees. That's how far back the pilot's seat was tilted. Now that might not sound like a lot, but this single change was a massive, massive leap forward and helping a pilot withstand the crushing forces of high-G maneuvers. And let's be super clear, none of this was about making the pilot comfortable. It was all about survival. By reclining the seat, you actually reduce the vertical distance blood has to travel from the heart to the brain. This helps the pilot stay conscious and in control during those brutal, mind-bending 9G turns. The pilot is literally sitting right next to the action. The M61 Vulcan cannon is tucked right in beside the cockpit, and test pilot David Kern describes firing it as just unbelievably violent. He said it's like a chainsaw going off in your ear while the entire jet shakes. It's just a reminder of how compact and integrated this whole weapon system really is. So when you put all these innovations together, energy maneuverability, fly-by-wire, a pilot-centric cockpit, you didn't just create a great jet. You created an enduring legacy. I mean, just look at its service life. It came into service way back in 1978, and it has been continuously upgraded for decades. The latest versions, the Block 70/72, are packed with state-of-the-art avionics, and the U.S. Air Force plans to keep it flying until at least 2048. We're talking about a 70-year service life. That's incredible. Its success is just undeniable. With over 4,600 produced and serving in more than 25 nations, the F-16 is a true global icon. Its core design philosophy, this focus on multi-role capability and just unmatched maneuverability, has proven so effective that it remains just as relevant today as it was back in the 1970s. And that leaves us with one last question to chew on. What makes a design philosophy so powerful that a machine conceived nearly half a century ago can still be one of the most formidable fighters in the sky? The F-16